force velocity curve. I'm just going to leave the power curve here. I'm going to split it into half. We know that this is my strength part. Actually, let's call it with the same terminology. This is my heavy resistance training, although we're going to be more accurate with that. And this is my plyo. Okay, now just, and we said that we want to stay somewhere at the top of that curve to improve adaptation. So I'm going to break down this curve into 6 segments. And I'm going to number them, but the numbers are completely random. It's just for me to put them in an order. They don't mean anything, okay? That is just to keep things a little bit more simple. And this side of the curve, we're going to look at that this afternoon, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about plyo now. Just let's focus on heavy resistance training. And I'm going to name it 3, 2, and 1. And again, it means absolutely nothing. It's proximity to my peak power output. 1 is very, very close to it. 3 is very, very far from it. And I'm going to give you some numbers here at the bottom that tend to relate to the majority of exercises, but there might be a little bit of a difference. So here you are somewhere around 80% of 1 rep max. And here you are somewhere around 60% of 1 rep max. Okay? So if you follow along what we just talked about earlier, when I ask you about peak power output, just remember that please. We said that peak power output occurred between 30 and 60% of 1 rep max, right? That's what we said earlier? Don't mind. Sorry. So if I'm looking at 30, 60, I already know that my power output is coming down this way because my loads are coming down, right? Can you map that on the graph? So this is 80, this is 60, so it's getting smaller, smaller, smaller. So my power output will be somewhere between here, which matches so far, right? Okay. So, heavy resistance training. My ultimate goal is to increase force, which means I want to increase my 1 rep max. That's what I'm trying to do. We know that most of these exercises are a gigantic waste of time because they don't produce much power. With just one critical, fundamental, the most important exception in our job, which is a tiny category of lifts that fall right between these 2 zones. We're like, you're powerful but not super powerful, you're strong but not super strong. So right between roughly 70 and 80% of 1 rep max, and we're gonna put way more context to this, just start from here. Tiny zone right across this tube, which we normally refer to it as minimum effective dose. Which is a nickname. It's like, if you think about plyometric training, at least my generation, we grew up calling plyometric training the shock method. The shock method, you don't find it in any paper. If you Google shock method, it's not going to show up. If you want to learn about the shock method, you have to look at that jump. That jump is the key word for the shock method. Same thing for minimum effective dose. We call it minimum effective dose, but the correct terminology on paper would be dose response.